back with another video. A video. Okay, so you can cook with the automatic kitchen, just like my remote control playback is broken into segments. So is the cooking process in the automatic kitchen. So you can go to the touch screen and then you start to prepare your meal, and you select, prepare vegetables, and then you select grab a tomato, then you choose which way you want to cut or slice it. And then we have also gourmet options if you want to turn it into like one of those cool looking things. If we train the robot to do that already, you can pick one of those gourmet options as well. Then you can grab another vegetable and slice it and prepare it, or however you want, and then you can choose to stick them both into a pot, and then you can cook it, or you can make a salad. You can stick them into a bowl and add salad dressing and make a salad. You go through piece by piece how you want to cook with the automatic kitchen, so you're not just stuck with these automatic meals. You can also cook with the automatic kitchen as well. And what we do is we get professional chefs to cook some of their famous meals, and we add these as recipes. We sell recipes, and we sell expansion recipes from famous chefs and so forth. So this is a way for a chef to make like once the automatic kitchen gets going, and there's like 1 million people with automatic kitchen, this is a way for a chef to make hundreds of thousands of dollars off of a recipe or something to that extent. So it's like, it's once you get the automatic kitchen going, it sells to the professional chefs. But this is just like a cookbook to let you eat these famous meals of theirs. Is just like making a cookbook for you. So so that also leads into also making an automatic fast food joint. Like, you have the pieces, you think there'd be an automatic McDonald's already by now or something like that, but or any kind of like an automatic stir fry, like I mentioned, the spinning spice rack into an automatic stir fry. You can make an automatic stir fry place. Somebody comes up with some automatic rice or some automatic noodles, and you got flourishing business. So this is more sci-fi again. So one of the things I tried to do with putting all these gauntlet pieces together is to try to make a beamer, and that's like a particleizer, something that can pick up and manipulate infinite types of particles. Like magnets can only pick up metals and stuff like that. This one can pick up all types of materials. You want to figure out the attraction for all types of materials, or the different attractions that you need to combine into picking up all types of materials, and that's what the beamer is about. And one of the things that we have is this cleaning table, or this cutting table, where we have like we have a table that's one particle, or a paint that's one material, one particle, and we put different particles on it. We try to clean up that table with a laser beam, basically with a particleizer. So we try to particleize material to material and clean up the table, just to try out all the different components that we have, and different ideas that we have for actually particleizing something or attracting something. This is one method of just doing filling out the grid, as I say, filling out all the grid. So and to get good at particleizing altogether and build this beamer, that would be sweet. The other thing is Bubbles OS. So like when I take apart the computer, I have this AI, and like you have to build your own programming language for this AI to work the best. That's the way that it works best, is if you build your own computer and you build your own programming language, and you put it all together specifically for this purpose. That's the best way to do it, right? So I got my Bubbles OS, and this came from I don't know if you ever seen X-Men, where he turns to Professor X and says, "Who's this, Wheels?" I was just imagining the guys in the afterlife looking at, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and then looking at me and saying, "Who's this, Bubbles?" Because I'm kind of like and the other thing is, like, because Wolverine says Bob all the time, "Hey, Bob." I'm kind of the Bob out of the group. It's like, "Hey, Bob." It's like, that's me. I'm Bob. What's up, Bob? right? So Bubbles OS is my operating system. What makes it different is that you don't actually write applications. What you do is you write features. So say that you have like a DAW, like an audio workstation or something like that. What you would do is you'd have like the editor window, like the waveform editor window. You know what I mean? And you could write different versions of this editor window, and people could pick which editor window they wanted to load onto their Bubbles OS. And then you know, if you're having plugins, like you'd have the components for plugins or for channels and insert slots. You could Somebody else could write a better basically a track channel strip than you, and sell that channel strip. So I'm kind of losing the point. The point is, like, you know, anything from Photoshop to digital audio workstations to Office um, applications, you put together your own workspace. And what you'd essentially do is you'd be buying buttons, and you'd be buying features, and you'd be buying functionalities that you add onto the operating system, but you don't actually have applications. So you don't have, you know, copycat. You don't have, like, if you have two DAWs that have two versions of the same features, right? You don't necessarily have that. You got the best in class feature set for what you want to do, and it's designed to be a feature set operating system where, you know, people aren't aiming to write applications necessarily. They're aiming to improve the functionality, improve the feature set of the operating system, right? So that's Bubbles OS. One of the things I did that was this DAW, which had this infinite insert slots. So after every segment of EQ, so after the low EQ there's an insert slot, and then after the low mid EQ there's an insert slot, and after the mid EQ there's an insert slot, and then down into the compressor after, you know, after the threshold there's an insert slot, and after the attack there's an insert slot before the release. And basically what this does is it's like this infinite patch bay that allows you to rewire everything and wire it in whatever order you want it. So, and what I wanted was like the before and the after, was to be able to switch the order of anything. So, like, you know, if you've ever used a distortion pedal and a wah-wah pedal, if you switch the order, it sounds totally different. If you switch the order of the wah-wah pedal to the distortion pedal. So that's what I wanted to be able to do, is switch the order of everything. This leads into like an actual patch bay for like components. One of the things that we're doing was not just building audio components, but gauntlet components. And what I wanted to do is connect them together onto this giant patch bay and make sure that they all have an in and out, so I could patch together, like, say that I wanted a super preamp, then I'd patch together this component to this other component to this other component to this other component for my preamp. And what I wanted to do was be able to change those components and make a different preamp, and have this patch bay that just had all these components connected to an in and out sort of scenario, and see if you could do things like robot sensors and stuff like that. If you have digital technologies and gauntlet technologies that you try to, you want to utilize different technologies at different points in time, so you want them all patched together into this patch bay. You might even want to compose or put together a couple components to create your own bigger component, right? And so that's the patch bay. The other thing is a remote control console. So a remote control console and an analog gearbox. This analog gearbox is like the same thing, where it's like got all these analog components and this patch bay, and you just put together through plugins on your computer. You put together plugins of your own components that you put together. So you put this component, that component together, and your plugin would show all the parameters for these components that you put together into this bigger component. And then you take that a step further, so you can log on to a recording console. So you can log on to an analog recording console, load in some audio from a real preamp or from your iPad, like even recorded it onto your iPad, load it into the console and mix right on the console and get it back, just having it powered on at your house. So there's some remote control stuff, some automatic stuff, and most importantly is that patch bay for all the components in the gauntlet.